Welcome to Build Like a Boss, the podcast for service-based business owners who want to build, optimise and sell their business services without burning out or waiting for life to calm down first. I'm Dani Louise Smith, business strategist and operations consultant, and each week I'm sharing practical, no-nonsense strategy to help you grow a business that actually works alongside your real life. Whether you're a coach, consultant, freelancer or service provider, this podcast is your shortcut to clarity, stronger systems and more consistent sales. Around here we focus on building sustainability even when life is unpredictable. There's no fluff, no hustle culture, just smart strategic action. Let's get into it. So, welcome back. So this episode is for you if you believe that to get more clients you need to post more content. What a load of nonsense, that's not true. It's not true. So the myth we're busting today is that more content does not equal more clients. So if you are, whether you're a product or service-based business, no matter what it is that you do, content does not equal more clients. And I'm going to tell you why. It's so important because business owners are so exhausted now from creating content. They're just churning it out and still not signing clients as a result of that. It's just wasting time. So people are getting on like loads of different platforms because they think that adding another platform on is the answer, and it's not. So today I'm going to cover the content trap that everybody's fallen into, what actually gets you clients, the sales activities most people are skipping, and get more from the audience you already have, and then the follow-up problem. And we're going to talk around having a small audience but a full client roster, and then the mindset shift that you need to take to go from content creator to business owner, and then simple actions that you can take. So we've got a lot to get through in this episode, but overall I want to help you to get more clients without having to post more content. I'm going to give you some time back, right? Most business owners default to content when they need more clients, and I think it's because it's easy. It becomes like this two-pronged approach. Like, I need more clients becomes I need to post more, and people just think that content is visibility, but visibility alone does not pay your bills. That's only one part of the funnel. The funnel needs to be business owners being seen, like people know who you are, they know you exist. Those people need to be funneled into your world. They need to be nurtured and looked after, and then they need to be sold to. So if that's all not flowing, then the gap between someone seeing your content and becoming a client is so much more wider than you probably realise. And content is absolutely one part of a sales system, but it's not the whole thing. In fact, content is marketing. Marketing's part of a sales system, but that's not a sales strategy in itself. And basically, this is a good thing because whereas you might find yourself trapped in creating more and more and more content, actually what I'm telling you right now is that you can have a small audience but still have a full client roster if you do the right things, which hopefully I'll help you to connect with during this episode. So what actually gets you clients then? If content is trapping you and that's not the thing that gets you clients, then I know you're thinking, well, what does? Well, relationships get you clients, conversations get you clients, follow-ups get you clients, and referrals get you clients, direct outreach gets you clients, and none of these require you to create a single piece of new content. How crazy is that? So if you know, and I'm pretty sure you probably do, that following up with someone might lead to a sale, a referral will lead to a sale, a relationship that you build will lead to a sale, then why are you not focusing your energy on this? I will say yes, content is important. We do need to be marketing the services that you sell, but none of these sales actions require you to create a single piece of content. So I want you to think about, when did you last do any of these things deliberately and consistently? Because the compound effect, repeatable actions of building relationships, following up with people, starting conversations, getting referrals and direct outreach will lead you quicker down the path of signing a client. And you don't have to do content to do that. What you can do though is use your marketing and these actions together to get clients, because if you're conversing with someone, especially online, so thinking like Facebook Messenger, Instagram DMs, whatever that looks like, and the content you post then is seen by these people, it's just going to layer themselves together so that you've got the marketing doing its job and the sales conversation doing its job, as long as you actually ask for the sale. And I think this is the problem, that the thing that actually gets you clients is asking for the sale, and not enough people are asking for the sale. So that actually brings me to the sales activities that most people are skipping. It's all of that I've just talked about, but what's really, really, really important is following up with warm leads. People who've inquired but not yet bought. That is so important, and I know that you're potentially listening to this episode because you're skipping it. It also could be checking in with past clients. Do they need you again? Do they know anyone who does? There is no harm in reaching out to someone, because the chances are they will come back and work with you again. It's about having intentional conversations as well, so not just chatting, but moving people towards a next step. Kind of like, you've got to have an agenda, but also you've kind of got to have some discernment and approach it with permission, or like in terms of permission being in their hands, because I do believe in permission-based sales, but move them gently towards the next step. It could be that one of the sales activities that you're skipping is making direct offers. So actually telling people what you do and how they can work with you. And it is as simple as that. You will not believe the amount of times I go to run networking events. I'm running events and people attend, or I've been to events where it's all fluff and someone's trying to tell us what they do, but they're trying to do it in a fancy way, and we're not actually clear on who they are and what they do and how they can help us. Also, asking referrals, don't be afraid. Most people never do this, even with happy clients. If you've got a happy client, ask them to share you with someone in their world. And it's likely that a happy client that's got happy service from you, that are really, really happy, are going to have a friend that can benefit from what you have to offer as well. And a lot of the times, these kind of actions feel uncomfortable because they feel like they're selling. But you've got to remember, and you've got to reframe it basically, you're offering to help people who need it. Sales doesn't have to be approached icky and spammy and cold. It can be with warm leads, it can be gentle check-ins, it can be intentional conversations, it can be being direct when it needs to be, and it's just asking to be referred. It gets to be as easy as that. The only thing you're missing is actually implementation of these simple things. And don't forget that the more you do something, the more you build confidence in it, and the better you'll get at it as well, which is when you'll actually start to see more results. And you don't have to post content to do any of that. You can actually get more from the audience you already have. So most business owners are looking for new people when the answer is probably already in your existing audience. So think about, what have you already got? Have you got an email list? If yes, are you emailing them regularly with a clear call to action? You see your social media followers? Are you actually having real conversations, or are you just broadcasting and you're just throwing content out to them? And actually, I want to go back to your email list. How many times are you actually sending a sales email, but you're not having a conversation beyond that? One powerful thing you can do right now is send out an email with the call to action be to hit reply and have a conversation with you. Not to book a call, not to go down an automated funnel, not to, buy the thing. Ask them to reply, have an actual conversation, because that will make a difference. Then bringing that back to the social media followers. Are you just broadcasting to people? Are you just putting your content out there and praying and hoping for the best? You've got to actually have real conversations with people, because that is what will get the sales. That's what will lead them to becoming clients. So obviously, as part of that is your DMs. Are you starting conversations, or are you waiting for people to come to you? Because the people who are already following you are warm people, they're not strangers. And the goal is to deepen the existing relationships you have before chasing new ones. Now, this needs to be a two-pronged approach. Like, you do need to chase new people and grow your audience. Like, you want to get more followers. You want to get more subscribers on whatever it is they're subscribing to, email list, YouTube, whatever, podcast. You want to get more of those people to watch, to consume. But the goal is not to have thousands and thousands, millions of followers. The goal is to get enough clients to fill your roster. So, how do you do that? You got to deepen the connections with the audience that you already have. Which brings me to the follow-up problem. So, Most sales are not lost because someone said no, it's because nobody followed up. So it's worth knowing that most people need multiple touch points before they buy. And I'm talking a lot. Content alone is not enough. Think about how many times that you post about your offer in the last week. Was it once? Was it 3 times? And when you've got to think that someone in your audience might only see 3% of your content, it's really unlikely that they've seen that offer once. So this is where it's really important that you don't lose people because they haven't had the touch points that they need in order to buy. So start thinking about actually how can you create those touch points beyond just content. Business owners also give up after one message or email and assume that the person isn't interested. Oh, I have been there and I've done that, and it's something that it's taking time for me to get comfortable with. Like, it's okay to follow up. You can never assuming this person on the other end doesn't need your services because they're better at something than you, or they've got more money than you, or whatever that story is that's in your head. Throw it out for a minute and just take the action and see what happens. Also, following up is not being pushy. It's being professional and showing that you care. In fact, there are some great times that I have had follow-ups that I've really loved. So, for example, I really needed my moisturiser. I buy it from Tropic, and I completely forgot about it. The time I remembered was when my dog was having surgery and it cost a fortune, so that's the long story, but basically we didn't have a lot of money in the bank, and so I couldn't buy that moisturiser. But then when I did have money, the person I buy from followed up with me and told me about other products that had just been launched. It just triggered my mind to remember that I wanted that moisturiser. So I went and bought moisturiser and sun cream, and I spent 50 quid I think with her. So you just never know what the follow-up is going to lead to. It's not being pushy, it's being professional, it's showing that you care, and it's got to have the right context around it, I will say that. So you're not just kind of forcing something on somebody that they're not actually interested in. Remember, we want to have permission. So you need a simple follow-up system. And this is one of the follow-up problems, is that people don't have a simple follow-up system. Think about who have you spoken to in the last 90 days who hasn't bought. Go back to them, go start a conversation. And it's just really important, I hope nobody would do this, but what not to say. Don't be saying, are you ready yet? But check in genuinely and share something useful and open the door again. I have actually had someone sell to me that way. They've come back to me when I've not bought. I'm like, are you ready to buy this yet? And I'm like, oh no, look, because it just reeks of desperation, and you don't want to reek of desperation when you're selling. But the follow up is a problem if you're not doing them. You need to be doing them. Okay, let's talk about having a small audience. So, like I said, you don't need thousands of followers to have a thriving service-based business. In fact, it's really funny because when I had my keepsakes business, I had a Facebook group and it was dead. It was so dead. But my books were 8-week turnaround time because I was so full I could not take any more on. I was overwhelmed with orders, we were making a lot of money. And there was this person who came into my group. She'd had a nosy at what I was doing. And at the time, I'd just set up this business. So I used to coach creatives, and I was teaching how to set up a business and all of this stuff, and how to get engagement I was teaching. And she once trolled me and was like, ha ha ha, you don't know what you're talking about. Your business is dead. You've got no engagement in your group. And you know what? In terms of the engagement in my group, it was dead. There weren't a lot of members. I think I'd recreated a group at some point, so there were less members. But it was dead. Hardly anyone was engaging. But I tell you what, I was getting messages in the DMs all the time with people placing new orders. I was making a lot of money from it as well. I was making bears like no tomorrow. And so, basically, she was just judging what she saw on the front of it, the small audience and lack of engagement. But behind the scenes was a very different story, and that absolutely is possible. So what you actually need is the right people, a clear offer, consistent sales activity, and then you're good to go. So for example, you might have 200 engaged email subscribers who know exactly what you do, and that's worth so much more than 10,000 followers who don't have a clue who you are and what you do. So the shift is to stop measuring success by your audience size and start measuring by conversion quality and conversion rate instead. So this is how many people from the audience that I have bought. So if you maybe sell for 2 weeks and you do your marketing, you do your sales activities, look at how many people you're speaking to, how many people have said yeah, that's your conversion rate. So what percentage are they converting? And then if it's quite low, you look at what you can do to increase that. Being strategic with a small warm audience will always be shouting into the void with a large cold one. And it's really difficult to kind of bring it back if you do build an audience of loads and loads of people that are not your ideal client, that are not a fit for you, and you're not fit for them. So intentional, like ideal prospects is what I'm going to say when it comes to your audience. So smaller, it can be better. So the mindset shift. To go from a content creator into a business owner. Now the two do connect because we need to do the marketing, but there is a difference between a content creator and being a business owner who uses content. A content creator typically just shares content on social media, and this day and age they sign brand deals, they get paid for their content. I get paid for my Facebook content. A viral post last month has got me being paid over £100 this week. That's a win. But that was just me posting about suntans and sun cream and getting sunburnt, and it went viral. That's the kind of content creator kind of vibe. But business owner who uses content, you've got to use it intentional, you've got to use it strategically. Content creators need a large audience and high engagement to earn. So the only reason that I got paid very well off of that post was because it got loads of comments and people started engaging with each other. So it got even more views, and then it got even more engagement, and then it earned me more money. And that's not what you want for a business. What you want for your business is, you don't want this piece of content just to go out into the void. You want to actually get the right people, the right conversations, and then the right conversions will happen. So if content is taking up all your time and energy, it might be crowding out the actual sales activity. So I challenge you to spend less time on content creation and spend that time on sales activities, so doing the follow-ups and all the things that I've talked about, because that'll make a massive impact. So it might be you do 3 posts a day, you reduce it down to 1, and the time that you would have spent on those 2 other posts, you go do the sales actions. So ask yourself, how many hours this week did I spend creating content versus having sales conversations? Because the answer is usually really, really revealing and where change needs to be made. So what are the simple actions that you can take this week? To start off, I've mentioned it already, write a list of everyone you've spoken to in the last 90 days who hasn't yet bought, and follow up with them. You don't have to sell to them, but just follow up, start a conversation. And email your email list with a clear, simple offer and add a call to action. Remember, the key is to get them to reply. Yeah, you can do a sales like buy this now later on, but for now, get them to reply, start having those conversations, and reach out to 3 past clients and check in with them. No agenda, just genuine contact, see how they're getting on. And then ask a happy client if they know anyone who might benefit from working with you, so then they can go share it. It helps if, when it comes to referrals, you give them a reward as well. Give an incentive isn't a bonus, it's going to push them, they're going to remember to do it, likely to do it. So give an incentive as well. Also start one real conversation in the DMs, so not a broadcast, not just a piece of content, but an actual conversation with one person. None of these things require new content, but all of these things can bring in clients. So I want you to just remember that more content is not always the answer. The answer is usually more conversation, more follow-up, more direct sales activity, because the content does support your sales, that's your marketing, it doesn't replace it. And these days we need to work more on doing the sales actions, because marketing does not sell your offers alone. People are more discerning with where they spend their money, they're more aware of marketing tactics. So I challenge you to pick one action at least from today and do it before the end of the week. So if you found this interesting, share this episode, get in touch and let me know. Let me know if you get results. Come and find me on all social media platforms, and don't forget to subscribe for more free content available every week at the same time, same place. See you in the next episode.